So I have a kind of cute, funny, and sad story that I want to talk to you about. And so it was Tuesday morning when I was getting ready to go to work. Kara comes in and she says, well, first I took Keone and Sergeant out to go potty, and about halfway through that trip outside, Keone lets out a huge bark. And, she just goes off. And then she's sniffing the air. And I'm thinking, is there a moose around? And so I started watching for a moose and everything. And I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. And I was pretty alert. But my hearing isn't the best, so I didn't hear anything. I went back inside and I started eating my breakfast. And Kara comes in and says, did you hear that outside? And I said, hear what? And I explained to her that Keone had alerted that something was outside, but I never saw anything. And Kara said, there's a cat outside and it's meowing. A little kitten is meowing outside. So we go and investigate. And we're looking around, and I did finally hear the kitten meow, and it was coming from the direction of one of my wood piles. And so I got closer and I said, here, kitty, 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 kitty. And this little kitten jumped up onto the log pile and was facing me. And I kept trying to call this little kitten in, and she come running towards me. Look at me, get about 5 feet away, look at me, realize she didn't recognize me, and she'd run off. And this happened 2 or 3 times, and finally she just totally ran off. And I was, at this point, it was past time for me to go to work, so I asked Marissa to bring the live traps over and set those up and see if we could catch this kitten, because I don't have any neighbors that live close enough to me that the kitten could wander from their house to mine. All of my neighbors live far enough away that I don't feel a little kitten would be able to do that. So somebody had brought, this is the sad part of the story, somebody had brought the kitten out and dumped it in the road, is what I figure. Because I live far enough out that the kitten just, I don't imagine that it would wander to my property. And so we put the live traps out. I went to work. Well, Marissa put the live traps out after I had gone to work, set them all up. And when I got home from work Tuesday night, we didn't catch it. Yeah, I didn't figure we would, but I figured it would potentially be Tuesday night, Wednesday morning that we would catch the kitten. And so I checked and I listened, and I never heard the cat all afternoon or evening. I called, never saw it, never heard it. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it just went to sleep somewhere, or it wandered off and is somewhere else. 1 o'clock in the morning, Kara had been outside and came back in and said she heard the kitty cat. And so I went out with flashlight and a little container of food and listened for the kitty, and I could hear it on the hillside, and so I called for it, and we saw it with the flashlight. You could see the eyes, so it was a lot easier. I was able to coax the kitty in close enough, but every time I went to grab it, it would run off. And we played this game for a good 45 minutes. And since I had to go to work, and in the morning, I didn't want to spend all night trying to catch a kitty cat that I would never catch. So I moved one of the live traps up closer to where the kitty cat was, the little kitten was. I put extra food in it, extra smelly fish food that would definitely be able to smell. The kitty cat was very hungry. You could tell because when I had the dish of food, that's how I lured it in, and it would eat just a few bites out of the dish, but I was never fast enough to be able to grab the kitten because every time I moved, the flashlight would move, so the lighting would move, and it would kind of alert the kitty cat that what I was doing. Anyway, so we left, we went inside. I went back to sleep, which took me a really long time because I was kind of excited and worried that if we didn't catch the poor kitten, that the kitten would go hungry, and I did not want it to not have food. I did not want it to starve on my, So, needless to say, in the morning when I woke up, the first thing I did was go out and check the live trap, and I was getting closer and closer, and I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. So I kind of figured out we didn't catch it. Well, the closer I got to the live trap, because I couldn't see the whole live trap, I could just see a corner of it. And the closer I got to it, I could tell that the door had been sprung. And as soon as I realized that the door had been sprung, all heck broke loose. You would think that I had caught the Tasmanian devil, because that cage started shaking and rattling, and the hissing and meowing and the noises coming out of that was the Tasmanian devil was stuck in there. And we do not have raccoons in Alaska. I've never seen a raccoon in Alaska, but I almost, from previous experiences of catching a raccoon, I almost thought that I had caught a raccoon in that case. It was going crazy. And so I realized, well, I probably have the kitten. And I got up close, and sure enough, there was a gray blur in that crate, in the cage. It was shaking. It was hitting it side to side, and then it'd go forward and backwards. It was going nuts. And I picked up the cage, and it just hanging from my hand. The cage was shaking and going. I was having a hard time just holding on to that cage. It was moving so much. And I wish I would have been able to catch it on video, because it was just amazing how much this little kitten could shake that cage. And the whole way back to the house, that little kitten was running back and forth, front and back, and then it'd hit side and side, meowing and hissing, and it would look at me, it would meow, it would hiss at me, and then it would just start shaking the cage again. And then it would stop for a second, look at me, hiss, and start shaking the cage again. It was hilarious. And as soon as I got it inside the house, and I opened the cage, and all I had to do was reach in, and the kitten just immediately started purring. It was happy. It was in the house. and I realized that it wasn't in danger all of a sudden, and that kitten just went from a Tasmanian devil right into a little lovable kitten. And yeah, that's kind of my story of how we found a little kitten. We don't have a name for it. We have it narrowed down to because I called dibs. I get to pick the name, and I called dibs on naming this little kitten, and I've narrowed it down to 3 different names: Boo, Roo, or Howie. And it is a kitten. It's a female kitten, so Howie's kind of out of the running. If it was a male kitten, I think it would be named Howie, named after a howitzer, because if I was going to name a kitten after a gun, it would have to be a howitzer. I was thinking about Taz, but there again, if it was a male kitten, Taz would fit, but I don't think Taz fits this kitten, so I won't be naming it Taz. But I am thinking that Roo or Boo, one of those. I'm not quite sure. So I have just a little bit of video from the kitten, and I'll show you here what it looks like. Hello. We still don't have a name for this one. Hi. Definitely doesn't like dogs yet. Is she getting more comfortable with them though?
With the 3 big ones, yeah, but Huxley's just too, like, nervous and anxious.
Hello.
And pushy.
Camera shy. Who could go out somewhere and just dump that on the side of the road, not knowing if somebody was going to find it or not? She's tired. Oh, yes. Come here. Don't lick me. Yuck. It's gross. Do you want that kitty cat to be your new best friend? Huh? Do you want that kitty cat to be your new best friend? Oh, yeah. It's right there. What, Huxley? What? 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 Do you want to play? Ah, there she goes. She's gone. You chased her away. Something tells me Keone has a new friend. Keone really likes the little kitty cat. The little kitty cat went underneath the chair to take a nap. So Keone decided to come keep her company. What do you think, Keone? Huh? Do you need to keep her company? Do you need to let her know that she's loved? Part of the family? No. All she's saying is, I wish you guys would just leave me alone. Something tells me she's going to fit in just fine with the rest of us crazy creatures. Thank you for watching this edition of Not So Remote Alaska. And until next time, may God bless and keep each and every one of you. And with that, I'm out.